In this screencast, we will show how to easily use the MercadoLibre APIs to list an item. We will list a black Nintendo Wii. We search for the relevant category associated with this video game console. The categories depend on the site, and there is a site per country. Therefore, we start searching for the category in the site where we will list through the site's API. This API lists the different available sites, for example, MLA for Argentina, MLB for Brazil, etc. By clicking on MLA, we get the basic site information, including a list of root categories. After searching, we find the category Consolas y Videojuegos, which has Nintendo Wii among its children categories, which in turn has Consolas among its children categories, and this one has the Negras category. To know whether the category is a page, you need to check that there are no elements in the node Children categories. Categories have common attributes that they share with all categories and some of their own. These are some of the main common attributes. Listing aloud indicates if we can list in this category. Buying aloud indicates if we can buy items from this category. Buying modes shows the buying modes, in this case, auction and buy it now. Coverage areas, not allowed, indicates that this category does not allow information regarding the geographical coverage area. Immediate payment is optional, that is to say, it can be paid offline later on. Item conditions indicates the possible selling conditions of the item to be listed. These may be new, used, or not specified. Max stock per item indicates that the maximum stock for this item is 999 items. Price with value required indicates that the items must have a selling price. Stock with value required indicates that the items must handle stock. Now we will see the attributes that are specific to the selected category. To get the attributes of a category, we use the categories API, and we access the REST style through the URL categories / category ID / attributes. This call provides us with a list of the category's attributes. Each of them has metadata that describes them: the attribute ID, the name, if it is required, and suggested values that they can take. We are interested in the mandatory attributes, which can be identified by their required property with true value. In this category, the attributes marca and modelo are mandatory. An item must be associated with a listing type. This will define its effective period and its level of exposure. The types of listing depend on the site in which we wish to list the item. There are 5 types of listings for the MLA site: Gold, Premium, Gold, Silver, Bronze, and Free. The data we need is the ID of the listing type, in this case, Gold. We now check the listing types that the user has available. We check through the available listing types, and we see the listing types that are available both in general and the exceptions per category. Here we check that the listing type Gold is available. As we want to list as Gold listing type without prepaying, we will calculate our available credit. To do so, we check our credit level through the user/me API. We can see that our consumed credit is 3 and that our credit level is MLA 5. We will now see what the MLA 5 credit level means. To this end, we go to user/credit_levels/MLA 5. Here we can see that there is a default limit of 40, and then there are exceptions per categories. These exceptions are listed by means of parent categories. For example, MLA 1743, which is the parent category of autos, motos, y otros, with a limit of 50. We calculate our available credit and find out that it is 37. The only thing left is to check the listing fee. We will calculate it on the basis of a selling price of 1,000 Argentine pesos through the prices API. We can see that for the gold listing type, the one that interests us, the listing fee is of $35. As our credit is $37, we can list without prepaying. The items API is the one we will use to make the post that will list the item. We are now able to create the JSON needed to make the post. We will have to make two posts, one to create the item and the other to associate the description text with the item. We can see the minimum necessary structure where we can review the main attributes. Site_ID, title, category, buying mode, listing type, selling condition, and the marca and modelo attributes, which are specific to the category. In this example, we will use the REST client for Firefox to create the post. We set up the method as post. The URL will be api.mercadolibre.com/items through the access token. We add a request header in the name accept and the value application/JSON. And finally, we paste in the request body field the JSON we saw before. We click on send, wait for the response, and we can see we've obtained the code 201 created. We check the response body tab, and we can see that we've obtained a JSON with the recently created item. We can see that the item ID is MLA 4000566927. With the item ID already created, we will make a second post that will edit the item and associate it with a description.